there's a lot of chat in and around the world of AI about it coming for our jobs and, removing all human jobs. And maybe one day that's true, Klaus. Neither you or I know the answer to that question. But I think the potential is there right now for AI to take away a lot of the jobs we don't like doing, right? The repetitive stuff.
What do you see successful brands do differently from the ones that fail or have no sales?
So,
hello and welcome to another episode of the e-commerce coffee break podcast. Imagine growing your e-commerce brand faster without tying up thousands of dollars in inventory and guessing which products will actually sell. Today, we're talking about how smart e-commerce brands are using print-on-demand and AI-powered personalization to grow with less risk and more flexibility. With rising costs, tighter margins, and consumers spending more carefully, this approach is quickly becoming a powerful growth strategy for modern e-commerce brands. Joining me today is David Hooker, Head of Brand at Printify, the leading platform behind thousands of print-on-demand businesses worldwide. David works at the intersection of e-commerce, branding, AI, growth marketing, and helps brands while staying agile in a fast-changing market. So let's get started. David, welcome to the show.
Hi, Klaus. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for an intro that makes me sound so much cleverer than I feel.
I'm sure we will dive deep into it and you will show the expertise that you have. So some of our listeners might have never heard of on print demand, which I think is very unlikely, but others think they already understand all of it. But AI is changing the space very quickly right now. So you want to dive into this. Give me an overview of how print on demand looks today and how AI is changing the business model.
Sure. So for those who don't know, I'll try to briefly explain. Print on demand is a system whereby instead of buying large amounts of a product in bulk, so let's take a t-shirt as an example. Let's say you've got a great design idea for a t-shirt. You want to put your company logo, whatever it may be, on a t-shirt. You would traditionally have to buy 250 minimum t-shirts, various different sizes and colors. You need to store them somewhere before you ship them out to your customer. With print on demand, every t-shirt is made on demand. So there is a facility with blank t-shirts in different sizes sitting around. The design comes through to the facility. They pick the t-shirt, they take it over to the printer. It gets printed, packaged up, and then sent out to your customer wherever they are in the real world. In the case of Printify, we're a technology platform more than anything else. So you then plug your Printify account into wherever you're selling. So Shopify, Etsy, Amazon, TikTok, wherever it may be, so that you can advertise or open your e-commerce store. Customer places an order, the process that I just described in the facility happens, and your customer gets a t-shirt without you having to commit to upfront inventory and without you having to negotiate with delivery, fulfillment, any of that stuff. We do it all for you. Print on demand is not new. It's been around since 2013. And it's a similar model to drop shipping, which has been around even longer. So, and your question asked me how AI is changing it. The short answer to how AI is changing print on demand is the fact that it's taken the parts of the process that were either repetitive or tricky, and it's taken those parts of the process away from you, so you don't have to handle them anymore. So let me give you a good example and a super exciting example that we're seeing our sellers already really enjoy, which would be the generation of mockups. So you've got your t-shirt, you've got your great idea for a t-shirt, and you've got your design. You then, using the Printify software, create that design. But people like to buy an item that they've seen how it looks on someone. Right? If you just present a schematic picture of a t-shirt, someone might buy it if it's particularly hilarious, let's say. But generally speaking, people want to say, okay, how does that look? Right? And how does the back of it look? Which is why you go on any e-commerce website, you'll see lots of thumbnails of how the product looks on a person or in the situation that it's intended to be in. Creating such mockups is not an easy thing to do by yourself. You would have to order the sample. Sample arrives at your house. You then have to find someone to model it, or you can try and model it yourself, but that means a difficult camera setup. So you've found someone to model it. Then you need to know the basics of lighting. You need to have a decent camera in order to get a good shot. So that's time consuming and expensive. Your alternative is to generate a mockup. So Printify and all the other tools out there, we've always included a template that you can generate a mock-up onto. But the number of templates that we could make is limited, which means that other people using the print-on-demand services, you're seeing the same models kind of again and again, right? Like the same faces staring back at you. With AI, what we've been able to do is allow people to generate a photorealistic mock-up. So we use Nano Banana. I think if you've tried the Gemini model at all, you'll know that the level of photograph that it is able to create is stunning and ultra realistic. Gone are the days of seven fingers and, you know, web toes and all of these things. If you're still thinking AI does that, you're you know, a year or so out of date really on that. So what we are now allowing our sellers to do is create an image that looks like it's come out of a photo shoot, looks like it's come out of a professional photo shoot, by using a guided prompt. So we don't actually ask you to enter the prompt yourself. We give you the skeleton of a prompt and allow you to change different elements of it and then regenerate from there. What that means is that everyone gets a unique image that is specific to their customer and shows the product in situ in seconds, which means that your listings stand out, but also means everyone else's listings stand out. So you're not kind of harming each other. So that's just one way that AI is disrupting and improving print on demand. And there's various other things that we have, including store setup, right? Which is traditionally can be a long part of the process, getting everything connected, opened, and all of that stuff. And we now have AI in the background helping you make decisions quicker. I'm a big personal believer in the fact that AI is there to take away from us the work that we never wanted to do, right? There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of chat in and around the world of AI about it coming for our jobs and, you know, removing all human jobs. And maybe one day that's true, Klaus. Neither you or I know the answer to that question. But I think the potential is there right now for AI to take away a lot of the jobs we don't like doing, right? The repetitive stuff. The choosing of categories, the adding of tags, the changing of descriptions. We found in the data with our sellers that it's the sellers who are willing to experiment and upload the most new ideas and designs. Not every idea, not every design is going to sell. We live in a world of AI, but AI is not buying anything. Right? Like AI is certainly not buying t-shirt. AI has no need for a t-shirt. I haven't seen an AI wearing a t-shirt at the moment, right? It's still humans who are making that purchase. So, and humans are wonderfully unpredictable, right? Like, are they, you know, is banana cream going to be this year's huge color? Is Charlie XCX going to decide that green is this summer's color this year out of nowhere and everybody's going to want it like she did a couple of years ago? Who knows? We don't know. So you're still selling to humans and you still have that unpredictability. The way to counter that unpredictability is to give people choice, right? Keep rolling the dice. One of our merchants is a brand called Poppy Rose that sells on TikTok Shop. It's incredibly successful. And I interviewed April, who runs that store once, and was talking to her about her success. And the way she equates it is to fishing. She says, you know, if you out there fishing and you put one line in the water, you might catch a fish. You probably won't, but you might catch a fish. If you stick two more lines in the water, your chances of catching a fish went from 1 to 3, right? So she equates creating new products, new designs, uploading them to putting lines in the water, attempting to catch fish. With print on demand, it's previously been tricky to do that because you have to put the work in. And now we're taking that work away, meaning that route to success, whereby those who are willing to experiment, those who are willing to do the work, get their designs out there and see if they sell or not, that's now becoming easier and easier.
Let me cut in there because I think this is very interesting. I was a seller myself on Printify years ago. I've sold tons of shirts back in the time. And what you just explained is like the nitty-gritty of creating artwork, and back in the time it was very basic, having just a a draft basically and putting it on. This was very time consuming, and you're quite right there. And with AI, this has changed. But we were talking about t-shirts. Now, you do far more things than only t-shirts. Print on demand goes for many, many products. And I want to just dive a little bit in there so that our listeners understand is whatever their idea is, there might be the right product already there on Printify that they can basically take up and start their brand with. Give me an overview. What kind of product range do you have at this point?
So we have over 1,300 different products on the Printify catalog at the moment. So there's apparel is the biggest one. So that's t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, onesies, baby stuff. We have a lot of home and decor. So like posters, mugs, things that you would have around the home. We have pets is a big growing one. We have car covers. Pretty much anything that you can imagine that you'd want to print on, we have it. And something like a t-shirt, we have a lot of different varieties, right? Like there's round neck t-shirts, V-neck t-shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve, all of those different things, all of the different materials that go into it. So yeah, if there's a product out there that people will buy, there's a fair chance that we have in the catalog, and we're adding to that catalog all of the time. So it's worth always coming back and having a look. What's important though is when you select a product, you're selecting it for an audience, right? Like people buy products as I was just saying. It's a very personal thing, and people buy products with meaning attached to them. And the upcoming generation, even more so than the previous generation, the Gen Z really, really want to have bespoke, personal, unique experiences in life. And that means bespoke, personal, unique products that no one else has. They want to walk into their social groups and have someone, oh my God, where did you get? Oh, that's perfect. That's so neat. Like it's to you, right? Which is where personalization, for example, comes in, right? Being able to tweak things, make them feel really real and personal, because we're in a world where people are seeing an incredible amount of content that's generated very, very quickly, which means that the personal content needs to stand out. So by having 1,300 different products in our catalog, we give you a higher chance of doing that.
Mm-hmm. With the standout, I want to touch on this. Obviously, you're doing this for a long time. You have a lot of brands out on the platform. What do you see successful brands do differently from the ones that fail or have no sales?
So we touched on it a little bit already, but the most significant thing that we see is resilience and determination, right? Especially when people start on their journey early on, they think that they have a great idea. And then unfortunately, you're the only one who thinks it's a great idea, right? It happens to all of us a lot. And I've interviewed a lot of sellers. We have one seller, his name is JM, and he actually uploaded a bunch of designs he thought were great. No one bought them. And then he uploaded a design which he was like, I guess it's cute. It exploded. Like one meta ad for going to his Shopify store. He woke up the next day and he had over 1,000 orders for this one design on a t-shirt. And it wasn't the design that he was particularly in love with. So we see that it's the people who have their determination to keep trying that are the most successful. The second biggest indicator is it's those who know their audience, who know who they're selling to. JM would be another great example of that. He knows the niche of people that he's selling to. He knows what they like. He knows what they don't like. And then kind of linked to that is what I would call like reason 2.5, which is listening to that audience, right? Like you may know that audience and that niche that you're selling to really well now. You could even go out and do research, right? We have some people who are selling to people like themselves, so it's easier for them. But we have people who are selling, for example, I know one seller on the platform who's a Moroccan guy who lives in Spain, and one of his stores is selling to Ohio-based nurses who love cats, right? So if those Ohio-based nurses had an in-person meet and he walked in, they would be like, excuse me, who are you? Like, what are you doing here, right? So, but he's researched the niche. So you can live in the niche, you can research the niche. But whether you live in it now or you research it, you're not going to know it forever. It will change, right? Trends change, people change their idea. But once you've built that audience and you have some kind of connection with them, listen to them. The first step to listening to them is to gather their feedback, right, via reviews. I still think email marketing is this, we have this stereotype of email of being old and outdated and whatever, but newsletters, surveys, feedback and stuff that goes via email is still really incredibly powerful once you have an audience. And we're seeing from our more successful customers, it's those that are able to know their niche and then adapt with their niche as it moves. So I think, really resilience, knowing your audience and adapting to your audience I would say, are the kind of big three that we see.
David, that was so valuable, and that was a masterclass in marketing and online marketing there. I couldn't agree more than what you said. And I think for our listeners, you'll have to listen to this twice, because this is basically how you build a business. If you have a great idea, as you said, you might think it's a great idea, but it might not work with the market out there. So testing, resilience, keep going, and know your customer. I think this is a really important takeaway. It's like you have to learn who your customer is. And even if they're in Ohio, far away from yourself, you still have to know where they are, what language they speak, what kind of words they use, and so on and so forth. On that note, talking about Ohio, Printify is a global company. How does it look like if you are selling somewhere far away or you have customers around the globe? How is that with shipping times, delivery, and so on? How does that work?
So in the case of Printify, we have over 87 different print partners and more than 115 different printing locations spread out all around the world. So essentially, we offer you local fulfillment on a global scale. So let's say you're in Morocco, designing for people in Ohio. We have a facility. I'm trying to think off the top of my head where our closest facility to Ohio would be. I think it's probably somewhere like Dallas. But we have a facility that's not all that far away, and we can send it there. At the same time, we have facilities on every continent in most countries, especially the major ones, a lot inside the European Union. We've delivered to 196 currencies and territories. I once looked at the spreadsheet because the data came through from our team, and I was like, there's not 196 countries in the world. That can't be correct. So I looked at the spreadsheet, and the Vatican City, where we kind of break up, but we've delivered to the Vatican. You can pick a territory in the world. We've essentially delivered there. If you're a little further from one of our facilities, it's going to take a little bit more time, but we don't really have anything that takes more than 20 days to get to someone. And the vast majority, 90% plus of stuff, is arriving within 3 working days.
That gives you, as a starter or as a brand that is established and wants to go into print on demand, a chance to start a global business with no upfront cost. So I think this is very unique in the business world. I think there's no other business which can basically offer this or business concept. Now, I want to talk a bit about your perfect customer. Obviously, we have someone who's a side hustler. That's sort of the beginning of the journey, but there's a whole range, and even big companies use print on demand. Give me an overview who your perfect customer is.
Well, I mean, Klaus, I never turned down anyone's as a customer, but my own personal perfect customer, in terms of the people who I enjoy seeing thrive the most, is really people who have an idea, or more importantly, have that ambition to own their own business. I'm brand director, so my job is to really know our customers. I do a lot of interviews with our merchants all the time, so I get to know them, know who they are, know how they think. And the similarities that I found in them is that they're a group of people who don't like being told what to do. It is a catchphrase, a line that we use a lot in our own marketing, is about be your own boss, take control, variations on that. Because the great thing about print on demand, and I say this a lot, is I think every MBA, degree course should have a print on demand module. Because with us, you learn advertising, you learn product creation, you learn customer feedback, you learn customer service, pretty much every element of a business. You learn it for real. The stakes are real. You make money or you don't make money, but you're not putting any money at risk. You don't need huge, great big upfront capital. So I would say our perfect customer is anyone who's doesn't like being told what to do, has the ambition to do something a little bit better. We have a lot of people who are looking for what I call financial freedom. But financial freedom is different things to different people, in my experience. For some people, Megan, who's one of our merchants, that equated to paying off her mortgage before any of her school friends. For some people, it's just wanting to make enough money to get their car fixed. Starla Moore, who's one of the biggest print-on-demand sellers, and she has great material out there teaching you how to do print-on-demand. I spoke to Starla once, and she was like, I just wanted to get the tires on my car fixed, right? That was her initial motivation for wanting to get it done. So anyone who has that kind of ambition to have a little bit more or a lot more, wants to take control and is interested in business, come check out Printify. I don't think, I'm biased, but I don't think there's a more fun and rewarding side hustle out there.
If I may add one more category, that's the one I fall under. Somebody who wants to be location independent and run a business from anywhere in the world. That's possibly one of your perfect. I've met a lot of nomads worldwide who are doing print on demand.
Yes, it's a really good point. Some of them don't start as nomads. Some of them realize they can become nomads once their print-on-demand store becomes successful. And as well as like people who want to be location independent, there's also people who want to be time independent. We have a lot of, for example, mums who use Printify because it's really difficult for them to have a 9 to 5 because kids' schedules don't fit into a 9 to 5, right? Like they need to be picked up from school before 5, etc. Print on demand, you set your hours, you work when you want. I've had an interview with a merchant called Mark, who was, funnily enough, based in Ohio. And I remember getting on a call with him and I was like, Mark, it must be 2 a.m. He was like, yeah, that's when I like to work, right? I have a wife personally who's a complete night owl, right? She can't do anything in the morning and then she works really hard into the night at times. If you're that person as well, print on demand's great for you.
No, absolutely. I think it's a brilliant business concept. And I think it's around for a long time and has shown that it is bringing results, building brands. So it's basically a no-brainer. Walk me through the typical onboarding process of a new user. What steps are involved? How long does it take to get up and running?
It takes minutes to get up and running and open your own store. It's free to join Printify. So you just go to printify.com, you sign in, you create your store. We now have a completely guided onboarding process where we are using a combination of our knowledge and AI to really guide you through the store setup. So working out what your goals are, right? Are you just someone looking to make a little extra money, or are you someone looking for world domination? What niches you know? Do you have it designed already? Do you need help generating designs? Helping you choose where's the right place for you to sell? Are you looking at Etsy, Shopify, Amazon, TikTok? Like, where's going to suit you and your needs and all of that stuff? And then you need to connect to whichever one of those places you want. So you'll need to open an Etsy account, TikTok Shop account, Shopify, etc. Some of those will have a day or so like period where they kind of authenticate you to make sure that you're not a bot that is opening up a store. Some don't require that at all. So setting up your store, getting your listings there, you can do that in a day, in an afternoon, really, if you want to, and you can dedicate time to it. The thing that will take you a little longer, because for me, onboarding also means getting to that first sale, right? Like you're really on board when you've made a sale. That's the thing that will take a little bit longer. Working out how to get your ads, so whether that be like turning on Etsy ads or opening up a Meta account, or whatever it may be, in order to get your traffic coming to your store. That's the bit that you'll need to work out a little bit harder, but it's very doable. We have a whole bunch of material that teaches you how to do that, and if you don't want our material, you can go get it from incredible people. I'm sure, Klaus, you've had lots of people on your show who will teach you, the basic principles of ads. But once you get that going and you can see traffic going to your page and people clicking and buying things, you're on board, and you'll be surprised at how quick that can be.
It can be really quick. If you have the right topic, the right audience, it goes pretty much overnight. So that's good. And you're quite right. Listen to the podcast episodes. We have tons of episodes that feed into how to sell on Printify. Now, obviously, you're making money as well. How does your pricing structure work?
So yeah, we have a price for each product in the catalog. So you go onto printify.com. You don't even need to sign up to see the catalog. Anyone can see all 1,300 products in the catalog, and we have our prices front and center. So we have a price there for the fulfillment, and then a price for the delivery. So you'll need to add the two together. We of course are making our money within those prices. It's free to join Printify, but if you sign up to Printify Premium, we give you a discount of up to and usually around 20% from the vast majority of products in that catalog. So once you've got your store open and you've got a few sales, it's really worth upgrading to Premium. It's only $39 a month, and you'll get that discount. It really pays for itself once you get a volume of people coming in.
Okay, cool. Awesome. David, before our coffee break comes to an end today, is there anything you want to share with our listeners that we haven't touched on?
I think the only thing that I would really say is that the thing that I really love about working for Printify and the business I'm in is the fact that anyone can do this, right? You don't need to be a designer. You don't need to have an MBA. You don't need to have some kind of knowledge to someone. You just a little bit of determination and resilience is all you need. And I mentioned that I interview a lot of merchants, and I'm always super excited to get on a call and then kind of see who this person is, right? And I've interviewed sellers who are in their 60s. I've interviewed sellers who are barely out of college. I've spoken to people who sell in every kind of political leaning store that you might think of, right? Like whatever your kick is, whatever floats your boat, as long as it's legal, then there's probably a Printify store that sells that. All different kinds of ethnicities of person, life stages, background stories, all over the world. It really, really can be done by anyone. And for me, that's super liberating and enjoyable to see that there's a power that we put in anyone's hands. So that's the thing that I'd add to that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I had no talent at all, and I sold tons of T-shirts. So gives you an example on how good and how easy it is to get started. And if you want to start a business and you have no clear idea, I think print on demand is a good entry point there. Where can people go and find out more about Printify and you?
Printify.com. For Printify, it's super easy. Just go to printify.com. If you really want to find out more about me, I'm on LinkedIn. So if you type David Hooker Printify onto LinkedIn, you will find me. But Klaus, can I ask you a question?
Of course, sure.
You said that you sold tons of T-shirts. Do you mind revealing what your favorite T-shirt or what your best seller was? Like, it's been a while, or do you want to keep the designs to yourself in case you decide to relaunch it?
Probably not relaunching. It's a while ago. It's a couple of years ago. I was selling into the US Army niche, whatever you want to call it. And I had my best seller, I sold about 8,000 or 9,000 of this logo or of this design, was just a very simple saying. So I won't tell you what it is, but it was nothing complicated, but it just connected with the audience and they loved it and they bought them just like hotcake.
Yeah, we see that a lot. Text-based T-shirts. If you get the right text, the right saying, they sell incredibly well.
Yeah, if you have something humor or some strongly opinionated or something like this usually connects with people quite easily. And as you said before, you don't need to be a designer, which is great.
Awesome.
Cool. David, thanks so much for the time today. I will put the links in the show notes as always. So I hope a lot of people will click through and get in touch with you. And please keep me updated on what's going on in the world of print on demand and talk soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Klaus. Really enjoyed it.